The club pulsed with a nervous energy, a palpable tension that hung in the air like a thick fog. Men whispered in hushed tones, their eyes darting to the shadows, searching for any sign of her presence. They knew she was here, somewhere in the darkness, watching, waiting. Griselda Blanco, the godmother, commanded respect. She also commanded fear, a fear that was well-earned. Her small frame held an iron will, a ruthlessness that had built an empire that thrived on the illicit trade of cocaine. An empire built on cocaine, a white powder that flowed like gold through her hands. Tonight, she was judge, jury, and executioner, a role she relished. Someone would pay. Griselda took a long drag from her cigarette, her eyes scanning the room with a predatory gaze. The smoke curled around her like a shroud, adding to her aura of menace. They called her the Black Widow, a name that struck fear into the hearts of many. A fitting name, she mused, for she was as deadly and cunning as the spider. Just like the deadly spider, she spun webs of deceit and violence, ensnaring those who crossed her. She thrived in the chaos, the fear her currency. Tonight, business was good, and the stakes were high. But business was always stained with blood, a grim reminder of the cost of power. That was the price of power, a price she was willing to pay. Her gaze landed on a man sweating profusely, his eyes pleading for mercy. He was a lieutenant, once loyal, now suspected of skimming profits, a betrayal that could not go unpunished. A slow smile spread across Griselda's face, a smile that promised retribution. She raised a perfectly manicured finger, a signal to her men. The music stopped abruptly. Silence descended, thick and suffocating, as everyone held their breath. Tonight, the Black Widow would feast, and her prey would not escape. The streets of Cartagena were Griselda's first classroom. Poverty was her teacher, and survival was the lesson she learned every day. Born into a world of desperation, she learned to survive by any means necessary. The harsh realities of her environment shaped her into a resilient and cunning individual. Life held little value, and violence was a constant companion. In the unforgiving streets, she witnessed brutality that would leave a lasting mark on her psyche. At the age of 11, she committed her first crime. It was a petty theft, but it marked the beginning of a dark path. A petty theft, a mere stepping stone to the darkness that awaited. Each crime she committed was a step deeper into a world where morality was a luxury she couldn't afford. By her teens, Griselda had graduated to more lucrative endeavors. She was no longer just a petty thief. She was becoming a force to be reckoned with. She honed her skills in deception, her beauty a weapon as dangerous as any blade. Her charm and cunning allowed her to manipulate those around her. Men underestimated her, a mistake they rarely lived to regret. She used their underestimation to her advantage, turning the tables on them. She learned the language of the streets, the art of the deal. Negotiation and manipulation became second nature to her, and she learned the seductive power of cocaine. It was more than just a drug. It was a ticket to a new life. It was a one-way ticket out of poverty, a path to unimaginable wealth and influence. The drug trade offered opportunities that the streets of Cartagena never could. Griselda embraced it fully, her ambition burning with a cold, white-hot intensity. She was determined to rise above her circumstances, no matter the cost. She would never be beholden to anyone, least of all a man. Her independence was her most prized possession. She would carve her own destiny, a destiny written in blood and cocaine. Her story was just beginning, a tale of power, ambition, and ruthless determination. America, the land of opportunity, a place where dreams are made and fortunes are found. For Griselda Blanco, it was fertile ground for a burgeoning cocaine empire, a place where her ambitions could take root and flourish. She arrived in New York City in the early 1970s, a wolf in sheep's clothing, ready to seize any opportunity that came her way. With her young son by her side, she blended in, a seemingly ordinary immigrant seeking a better life, just another face in the crowd. But beneath the surface, a ruthless entrepreneur was plotting her ascent, her mind always working, always scheming. She established her base of operations in Miami, a city awash in money and vice, a perfect playground for her illicit activities. The demand for cocaine was insatiable, and Griselda was more than happy to supply it, her empire growing with each passing day. She cultivated connections, building a network of smugglers and distributors that stretched from the coca fields of Colombia to the bustling streets of America. Griselda was a master of logistics, always one step ahead of the law, her every move calculated and precise. She pioneered new smuggling techniques, using everything from pregnant women to baby clothes to conceal her illicit cargo, her creativity knowing no bounds. Her ingenuity became legendary, her ruthlessness even more so, a woman who would stop at nothing to achieve her goals. She eliminated competition with ruthless efficiency, her rivals ending up dead or too terrified to challenge her, her power growing unchecked. The Black Widow was spinning her web, and Miami was caught in its deadly embrace, a city under the shadow of her reign. The streets of Miami ran red with blood. The cocaine wars of the 1980s were in full swing, and Griselda Blanco was at the epicenter. She had clawed her way to the top, leaving a trail of bodies in her wake. Her ruthlessness was legendary, her appetite for violence insatiable. She ordered hits without a second thought, her victims ranging from rival drug lords to disloyal underlings. No one was safe. The Dade County Massacre of 1979 cemented her reputation. 2 men were gunned down in broad daylight, their bodies riddled with bullets. The carnage was a message, a brutal display of power that sent shockwaves through the city. The Godmother had made her point. Cross her and die. But violence begets violence. Griselda's reign of terror couldn't last forever. Her enemies, both in law enforcement and the underworld, were closing in. The walls were closing in, and even the Black Widow couldn't outrun her past forever. Griselda wasn't just a drug trafficker, she was a ruthless killer. She ordered hits on rivals, business associates, and even her own lovers. Blanco is believed to be responsible for over 200 murders, earning her the nickname La Madrina, or the Godmother. One of her most infamous killings was the so-called Dade County Massacre, a public shootout in a crowded shopping mall parking lot. Blanco's hitmen carried out the attack with her signature method, riding up on motorcycles and gunning down their targets. In 1985, Griselda's reign of terror came to an end. She was arrested in California and later extradited to Florida, where she faced charges of drug trafficking and murder. However, Blanco managed to manipulate the legal system, escaping the death penalty and serving only 20 years in prison. Upon her release, she returned to Colombia. But even in exile, her reputation as a cold-blooded killer lingered. In 2012, at the age of 69, Griselda Blanco's life ended much like the lives of so many she had taken. She was gunned down outside a butcher shop in Medellin, killed by the very method she had made infamous, a motorcycle drive-by. Griselda Blanco was a woman who shattered every norm, rising to power in a world dominated by men. But her ascent came at a devastating cost. In the end, her life was defined by violence, a cycle she both created and became a victim of. Her story serves as a chilling reminder of the dark allure of power and the ultimate price it demands. Griselda Blanco, the Cocaine Godmother, will forever be remembered as a woman who killed. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to subscribe for more stories about women who kill.